everyone, Latrell here, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome to the new people. Hello, how you doing? I'm Latrell R. Morris. I am a horror, sci-fi, and paranormal romance author, if you don't know me. But I was looking back over some of my videos on my channel, and I realized I did not do a special for the Coryville series. So this video is for the Coryville series. The Coryville series is a suspense slash mystery slash paranormal romance series that focuses on a detective from Florida. I wonder why she's from Florida. Anyway, she's from Florida. Her name is Melanie Smith, and she wants to solve a case of a murder. So she gets the case of Oscar Williams, who is this stranger from Coryville, Maine. She realized a couple of weird things about him, like she realized that he has webbed feet, that his lips are blue, which she assumes is because he's dead. But then when she goes to talk to the medical examiner tells her that his DNA is a little weird. It's not human, and she doesn't know pretty much what it is. So over the next couple of weeks of her working the case, she has no leads, she has no witnesses. So she goes to her captain, Captain Yang, and asks him, can she go to Coryville to investigate, or at least ask questions of the people there, because it's been really like tugging at her and she really wants to get this case resolved. But her captain is pretty much like, you'll find something here, just let it go. It won't be the first or the last cold case you get if you don't get anything. So just, let it go. But she convinces him to let her go up to Maine. However, it does come with stipulations. So when the two captains, the Maine PD, Coryville PD and her captain, they get together and come up with the stipulations, and the stipulations are she has to work with someone from Coryville's PD, and she agrees to do it. Insert our next character, Dereck Rosehill. Dereck Rosehill is a veteran with the police department, with the Coryville Police Department. He's also a detective, and he is a very I guess you can say a little funny type character. He's more of like the jokester, or just a little bit of an oddball, a little bit of a goofy guy. So their first introduction with each other is actually at the Coryville chili cook-off, because they're having their 50th anniversary of the town being established. And the introduction is Dereck actually points her out in the crowd, because he says he's never seen her before. He knew she was coming, and he kind of like snooped on her PD's website, so he kind of knew what she looked like. So they're introduced, and while they're at the chili cook-off, Melanie starts getting this like weird feeling, this weird vibe, and then all of a sudden it starts to like go a little dark and people start to fade, and she's like, okay, what's going on? So Melanie starts hearing this voice around her and feels a presence around her, and she's like, what's going on? Is she dying? Is she sick? And she realizes when she looks up that it's just her and one of the contestants on stage. So she starts to hear Dereck's voice calling her, and she's like, okay, what? And all of a sudden everybody else comes back into view. She's standing at the chili cook-off. Dereck is there, all the residents are there, and she's just like, okay, that was weird. But she realized that the guy that's standing on stage that she saw, that was just the two of them, is still staring at her. So she asks Dereck, like, who is this guy? And Dereck said, oh, that's my cousin Anthony. Introduction of Anthony Rosehill, Dereck's cousin. Anthony Rosehill is the owner of the farmers market, And he is very, very much connected to Melanie in a way that she did not know until later on in the story. So I guess the trope here is fated mates. But as time goes on, Melanie starts to realize that these people in this town are just a little bit different from what she's used to. Some people seem nice, overly nice. Some people seem very standoffish. They don't want her there. Some people are just hesitant because they don't want to be found out. And so as time progresses and stuff starts to get, she starts to delve more deep into the investigation, something happens where she is almost killed after doing a night investigation. And however, she's saved by Anthony, who turns out to be a lichen. So if you don't know what a lichen is, a lichen versus a werewolf, a lichen has more autonomy than a werewolf. Like a werewolf changes during the full moon, they can't stop it, so they're in that form until the moon is gone or until the daytime. But a lichen can change at will. So that is the difference between a werewolf and a lichen. And I decided that I wanted to do a lichen because I wanted him to have more autonomy over his transformation. So he saves her, but there's these other creatures. Like, these creatures look like sea creatures, and that's the things that were coming after her. She starts to realize this is a town full of creatures, different creatures from storybooks, creatures from mythology. And she's like, whoa. Apparently they established this town just for those creatures, and some of the creatures don't get along exactly. So the land creatures, the lichens, don't really get along with the sea creatures because of a thing that happened to them in the past and fighting over land. So 50 years later, it's still kind of going on, that little rivalry. But yeah, it is definitely like a fated mates situation. And this is actually the first paranormal romance or first romance book that I published and wrote. And it took me a couple of years to do it because I started it, I would say, back in maybe 2021. I was doing kind of it in between doing the Friend trilogy and finishing up Nova, the Execution of Justice. And I had put this in, but then I pushed it to the side for like a year and then started working on it again. The first book, Coryville, was released back in 2023. And the second book, In Sheep's Clothing, was released last year in 2024. So let's go on over and talk about In Sheep's Clothing. In Sheep's Clothing is the second book in the Coryville series. And this book focuses more on Anthony and Melanie's relationship developing over the past 6 months. So this takes place 6 months after. And Melanie comes back up to Coryville to stay with Anthony for a week because they've been just kind of like going back and forth, but this time she's staying a little longer. However, when she comes back, she's not exactly welcomed by at least one person. And that person, since she went back to Coryville in the first book, has been sending her nasty emails, has been sending her phone calls. And once she comes back, that's when pretty much all hell breaks loose. They're not happy with her to be up there. In the midst of these threatening calls, these threatening letters, and etc., Anthony and Melanie are really seeing that there's a little bit of tension in their relationship due to the fact that both of them are kind of hiding secrets from each other. And one gets mad at the other when they find out, and the other gets mad at the other. Like, so it's a little bit of a back and forth, and that causes more tension because they know that they are meant to be together, but because of them not telling the other about, you know, the important stuff of why they act a certain way, it's causing a lot of friction between them, which starts to make them, I guess you can say, more so Melanie, question the relationship if they should keep going. However, Anthony and Melanie aren't the only ones hiding secrets, because there's a big secret and a big reason why the character that I will not say who it is, but they were talked about in the previous book, Coryville, why they are coming after her. So I guess the tropes in this book would be the fated mates is still there, as well as an unexpected pregnancy. And I will say there's a trigger warning at the last chapter of the book, so without giving too much away, if you can put two and two together. But yeah, that is In Sheep's Clothing. I am currently working on part 3 and part 4. Part 3 will focus on some of the characters from the first book. They're going to be more front and center in this book, while still having Melanie and Anthony and Dereck as the three main characters. The fourth book, I'm still conjuring up in my mind. I have some ideas for it, and I know how I want the series to end, so it'll only be 4 books in the series. But I am kind of simultaneously working on 3 and 4 together, which is kind of what I did with 1 and 2. So look out for some updates. You can join my Patreon if you want some additional updates. You can also join my newsletter that I've already sent out January, February, and March. April I'm currently working on. So if you want exclusive updates, join my newsletter. Go on my website, latrellrmorris.com. But that is it for the Coryville series for now. I'll be back when I am in the process of finishing, or in the process of releasing book 3, and I'll talk about that as well as book 4. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy my content. And other than that, I'll see you later. Bye. Hey all, Latrell here, and welcome back to my channel. So I was looking back over some of my videos, and I realized that I did not do a special for my series, the Coryville series. So that's what this video whoops.